do you keep calling me Calvin?
Well, that is your name, isn't it? Calvin Klein? It's written all over your underwear.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Fredo, you're my older brother, and I love you. But don't ever take sides with anyone against the family again. Ever.
Top news stories of the week. Time to find out once again with Megan Olson and News of the Week on The Al Travis Show.
Love having her on the program. Megan, how are you today?
Good. Happy to be back. Another eventful week filled with our word of the year on the show, which is fraud.
Yeah, how that's not the number one word of the year. Let me, can I throw a quick conspiracy theory out to you that I'm liking right now?
Oh no, what is it?
Well, you've heard that the Powerball's at $1 billion. Do you think there's a reason why? This is my conspiracy. It's not $1 billion, never $1 billion. Then all this crap goes on, and somebody says, we got to get this ratchet up. Because right now, if I win on Wednesday, I'm not caring about the fraud anymore. I think enough people are thinking about, oh, if I have $1 billion, I think it's just a distraction. I think they did that. Because how do you really have $1 billion lying around in a, like there's a checkbook somewhere?
I didn't even know the Powerball was at that. I know people chat
Shush
about it
up.
sometimes,
You follow the news?
I don't pay too much attention to that. I'm more concerned about the fact that we don't have legalized sports betting here in Minnesota.
Oh, that is, well, you could get your wish. Let's do this. Give Al the Powerball and I'll help get you your sports betting in Minnesota.
I don't think I can rig that, but I mean, people sure do find a way to rig state programs out of their funds.
There she got us right where we want to be. I'm just going to find out, do you play the Powerball?
I don't.
Not at all. Even at $1 billion.
Nope.
All right.
I'll take my gamble on sports betting. I won't take my gamble on the Powerball.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. I'm not judging. I don't, unless it gets over like 100 million. So now the wife and I have been in. I don't want to say how much. I will. Can I say how much I won last week? Because no, I didn't win the billion. $4. We're letting it ride.
Hey,
we're letting it ride.
Nothing. You know, you're like halfway to a Starbucks coffee. What can you do?
Wow, you're just hurting me. That was my conspiracy theory. I got the Powerball. We're going to go get another ticket. It just keeps my mind off of all the rest of this. Let's talk fraud. What's the latest?
Yeah, the latest. I mean, we've got Walz, in the midst of everything happening. He's kind of being called out by other candidates, by Trump himself for what's happening under his watch. In the midst of all this, last Friday, he came out and said, we're going to have a director of program integrity now. So he appointed Judge Tim O'Malley as this new state director. They're going to be overseeing fraud prevention efforts, including with the Medicaid programs. He'll be based out of the BCA. Really kind of an interesting move. I mean, you're under pressure, and this is something that the legislature proposed this spring. I mean, they had this new House oversight committee. They wanted a director of program integrity or Office of Inspector General, if you will. Mm-hmm. And now Walz, here we are many, many months later, towards the end of the year, and he's making a move finally.
What is interesting is the way the press handles it. Star Trip, the governor's getting ahead of fraud. That was their getting ahead of fraud. I'm not sure, but I think it started in 2017. It's 2025. Are we ahead of anything here? This guy does, however, looks a little bit like Superman, doesn't he? I mean, old federal judge, FBI guy, Boy Scout. I think he's probably an Eagle Scout. He's got a Superman tattoo on his chest, as far as I can tell. But what can he do? Anybody? It isn't an office that we own. The governor just said, here's your title. Here's some money.
Well,
go
and conveniently,
be good.
It's also coming out right after CMS, so the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, basically threatened to withhold federal payments, which I know is interesting because you had the director of CMS on the show last week.
Yes.
Which probably, I'm assuming, is part of a kind of media strategy of saying, hey, what's happening here is kind of unacceptable, and pushing Walz into taking action. But I think for many who have been watching this, and for us who've been talking about it for years on this show, it's too little too late.
Yeah. The thing about holding back, some federal judge said that, and I'm going to get it messed up, that they can't hold back some programs. You can't. Why? I don't have any. It was because we're not sending correct SNAP info to the government, so they want to stop it. Well, some federal judge says, no, you can't stop it just for that reason. Well, what reason do you need? I don't understand, Megan, for the life of me. If the federal government is paying SNAP benefits, we run it, Minnesota, how can the federal government not get a list of who you sent the money to?
Yeah.
How is that not
and yeah, you kind of like gloss over it there, but this is a huge deal. Minnesota is reporting inaccurate SNAP benefit numbers to the federal government. You have the state auditor, Julie Blaha, coming out and saying, oh, it's a new program. It's kind of complicated. It's, really hard. And then at the same time, you have the political background of her winning that seat by the narrowest margin out of every Democrat in that 2022 election. So Ryan Wilson, who is Lisa DeMuth's running mate, came so close to defeating her. She's in that position. I think that kind of gives Republicans a little bit of an edge in potentially winning the state auditor seat, which why that is a political position, why there are political parties tied to that beyond me. That seems like it should be a nonpartisan thing. And I know partisan politics kind of worms its way into everything, but it's still a bit odd to me.
I just cannot for the life of me, with computers today and the rest, that her answer is it's very complicated. It's a SNAP program. People are going to apply, and you put them in 1 or 2, 3 categories, whatever you get. Bob gets this, John gets that, whatever it is. And you keep a list with the name, address, phone number, and a zip code or your social security number, whatever it is. And then spreadsheets do the rest, right? I mean, this isn't a card catalog. So when the government asks you, will you like the 5 guys that got program B, and you search it and you send it to them. The idea that they're going to tell us
this data isn't super recent. It's from 2021. So it's kind of the beginning of when this all started. We know it kind of started. There were a couple of warning signs, maybe 2017, 18, 19 pandemic. We saw this huge spike. So this data is from 2021. And the reason why this all came out is a representative, Pam Altendorf, I think she's out of the Red Wing area. She tweeted about it because she saw it. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you have media's kind of picking it up. You have the state auditor getting involved. So I mean, really, we're relying on people to do their due diligence to call attention to this. It's kind of being hidden below all of this kind of bigger top story feeding our future fraud. But there's little things that are starting to stack up underneath, too.
Well, you watch enough of the Dateline stuff, nothing gets deleted, right? You can delete stuff, but nothing goes anywhere anymore, right? So here's the feeding our futures thing. I saw a graph here today. I think it was on Fox, but I don't remember. Anyway. $5 million is what we were spending in feeding our futures in 2020. Remember when the COVID thing happened? 2021, it was $140 million, a 2,800% increase. Now, Megan, I'm Bob, the guy in charge of feeding our futures. They threw that one on me, too. I'm just not a happy guy. I got another $5 million I got to dole out. Okay. And the next year, it goes up 2,800%. You tell me, Bob, I'm not smart enough. What the heck happened there? And my boss, the guy who's in charge of Bob and the other 5 guys underneath him, said, what in God's green earth happened here, Bob? It's a 2,800% increase. And that person didn't tell the commissioner, and the commissioner didn't tell the governor or the lieutenant. You know what I'm saying? The culpability here is going to go away. And someone, I'm guarantee you, said in an email, Bob, what in God's green earth are you doing?
Well, and we know that. We've talked about this on the show, that there's a Twitter that's comprised of over 400 DHS employees, all kind of anonymously, because they're afraid of pushback, sharing their stories of how they were calling attention to this over the years. I mean, I'm surprised, I'm sure it's a lot of data, that someone hasn't done a data practice request and pulled all of those kind of whistleblower-esque emails, I don't know, keyword search for fraud or keyword search for this looks funny, whatever it may be, to kind of pull in to see that. I think there were people who were calling attention to it. It got sent up the chain. For those listening, those are air quotes there. I don't know how far it made it up for anyone to actually do anything, or if this is just the name of the game.
Well, see, and I don't get the answer. Oz couldn't tell me the answer. There is the retribution that Minnesota, if they decide $1 billion has been given away and everybody knew about it, we could have to pay back the federal government $900 million. He wouldn't on the show declare that that's what they know, a lot of things, yada, yada. I have yet to find anybody to tell me what the law is that is broken if an employee of the state of Minnesota just doesn't care.
Yeah. I don't know if it's just like pushback, like externally of, I don't know, you could lose your job. And for some, that might be all they have. There, socially, there's, But
that's it. That's it. You can let $1 billion go away, look the other way and not give a crap. And then Al's just like, well, Bob, you son of a gun. I want better out of you. Is that what we're going to do? Okay, fair enough. We've got to go to break. We'll be back. You got anything? What are we talking about? More fraud, I presume. You've
More
got another.
fraud. We'll talk a little bit about the governor's race, and the U.S.
Oh,
Senate
yeah.
race is kind of heating up here as well. So we'll talk about that soon.
It is, but it isn't yet. I love this. Okay, we'll talk about that. I got her. Megan's News and Review.
When the stakes are high at the Minnesota Capitol, you need more than a lobbyist. You need a partner. At Momentum Advocacy, we bring nearly 90 years of combined experience in government relations, public affairs, and strategic communications. From nonprofits to national corporations, we help organizations navigate Minnesota's political landscape with integrity, insight, and results. Whether you need legislative champions or headlines, Momentum Advocacy delivers. For more, visit momentum-advocacy.com. Momentum Advocacy, your friends at the Capitol.
If it's your turn to host a game, Grandpa's Barbecue suggests you try something different. Put out the perfect barbecue flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. Add it to your ribs, dip the meatballs, or drench your wings in the original flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. It isn't too hot or spicy, fruity or smoky or whatever. Grandpa's Barbecue. Available in select stores and online at grandpasbarbecueshop.com.
Easily offended? The Al Travis Show is not for you. The Al Travis Show. All sides are welcome.
I love having Megan on. Megan's News and Review. This next story, you're not going to like my take on this because I know I look at this different than everyone else. But you're talking about the polling. Go ahead.
The straw poll that we have with the governor.
That okay? I thought you were talking like Angie Craig putting out that poll against her and Latoya.
Let's start there because that's one that there's increasingly a lot of buzz about. So we have the U.S. Senate race, not really a viable GOP candidate on that side. You have Royce White. I think Adam Schwarzy's the other candidate. Michelle Tafoya is kind of waiting in the back wings. She was meeting with the NRCC last week. I think we might see her announced soon, but really all eyes on that race are on the Democratic side. So you have Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan running, you have Angie Craig running, who's a congresswoman from CD2, and she is circulating a memo. Pretty interesting. That kind of shows the polling and what that looks like if Tafoya were to enter the race, showing that she has a 1% edge over Flanagan if she were to win the endorsement. But interesting because I know folks are also talking about if Walz kind of continues to get burned on fraud, he might take a step back and Craig might pivot and jump into that gubernatorial race. But it's an interesting memo because it gets into like the messaging as well.
Here's what I loved about this, how I look at it different. So Angie Craig pays a polling company to come with a poll, and they spend $5,000-$10,000 on these polls, people. This is why you don't give your money to these candidates too early, because they waste it on frivolous crap like this. So they did a poll, and said if Michelle Tafoya gets in, Angie Craig will do better by 1 percentage point over Flanagan. And here are the numbers. Right now, Tafoya was in, 49 Craig, 45 Tafoya, 6 undecided. Flanagan, 48, 45, and 7 undecided. That's how it all breaks down. You kidding me? You just put out a poll to tell me that, oh, I'm better than her against Tafoya. Tafoya isn't even in. And she's got 45% to your 49, and you've been raising money and running for how long?
Tafoya, I'm seeing that and thinking, wait, maybe I can do this. I feel like it nudges her along, which I guess to Angie Craig, the whole point, I think, for her campaign releasing this and circulating this is to get an edge on Flanagan, because that's kind of the first battle before getting to that general. It's trying to get through the primary. But yeah, I also thought that was interesting. And it gets, like I said, it gets into the weird messaging of like, Flanagan is a, ultra liberal who's endorsed Ilhan Omar, and then you have Angie Craig who's an establishment, politician. Very strange. Like,
they're only points above a news gal, and nothing against Tafoya. I don't know whether she's actually going to get in. She's polling at 45%. I mean, I'd be scared to death, and let alone put that number out that without even trying, she's at 45. She only got 4 to go. 6 are undecided. She could win just because everybody knows Craig and everybody knows Flanagan. Those people are saying no. If she comes across nice, you get the 6%, you win.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was my thought. I'm like, you put that out to say that, oh my God. Okay, go ahead.
I was going to say, I know we've talked about this too, of Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan is Tim Walz's lieutenant governor, and she has not received a lot of pushback or flack for all this fraud stuff. And you and I have talked, for weeks and months on this show of how much of an issue is this going to be in 2026. Well, KSTP decided to do a poll. They came out with a poll of about just under 600 Minnesotans and asked questions about fraud. How big of an issue is this? 25% said it's our biggest problem, 54% said it's a major problem, and then the other 20% or so were minor, not a problem, or unsure. So I think that goes to show, 54% at major problem and 25% at biggest problem. This is a salient issue. And will we see Flanagan receive some of that pushback? Will that be a strategy by the Craig campaign to kind of start mustering some of that up and try and win the primary that way? Who knows? But I thought that was an interesting poll result because you and I have been talking about it on the show. I think it's a salient issue, and this kind of just reiterates that.
Yeah. So let's go to the other poll. The straw poll that was done at the MNGOP Central State, whatever in the world they call it. Anything really stick out to you? Qualls has been in for quite some time and is in first place with 90. Demuth, Speaker of the House, 90, or she's at 90, he's at 93. That makes a lot of sense to me. Lindell, probably the most famous guy. He is a sponsor of this program, by the way. 49, he got in a week ago. The Medell guy, I don't know, at 41. Parrish is in again, 19. Robbins is the one that kind of surprised me. She's a suburb. She's been out for a while. I like her. She's been on this program. She's the one that goes against all the fraud. She's head of the fraud committee. 5th place, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th place. I was a little shocked. Then Jensen, who's run before, he was our guy last time. He's even under that. Any of that shock you?
I think, people are reading really far into this. These early straw polls don't really mean much. If you look at the past 10, 20 years of what things look like with straw polls, who becomes the candidate, they're pretty inaccurate. It's way too early to tell. But I think what's interesting is Mike Lindell getting in the race, a week before this happened and jumping up to 3rd place. He's been doing a lot of campaigning with Action for Liberty. I think this goes to show that the caucus strategy is really important. We saw in 2022 that there was kind of a grassroots uprising. Action for Liberty did a lot of mobilizing. That's why we got Scott Jensen as the endorsed candidate. I think there's some of that still in play here. So we'll see kind of what caucus strategy looks like from each campaign. But Mike Lindell being at the top of the list was a bit of a shock to me for sure. And I don't know if that's name recognition or if it's this kind of grassroots effort in the caucus continuing to fester.
These people are in the know. As far as name recognition, that helps you get in the primary, you got to run. But these are 300 people that this is what they do, is eat, live, and breathe politics. I think his biggest thing is I think most of those people think that Trump will support him because he went, to the nines for Trump. I think it's kind of a Trump effect. I don't know whether it'll
and will that last in a midterm? Who knows?
That's exactly. No idea. But again, Qualls has been in for a long time. He's been putting in the work, I presume, talking to those people. And Demuth, everybody knows. I don't think it was a shocker. The one that gets me, and I shouldn't say this, Brad Kohler with 1. Man, 2 more people decided not to vote at all. I think it does
There's
show
some
something.
names on there that I don't recognize or know much about, but I mean, to each their
Go
own.
get them. It's
Good to
America.
put your hat in the ring.
Thank you very much. Absolutely. Got to fly, Megan. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll be back next week, probably talking fraud, more about 2026 elections, all the top Minnesota news stories of the week on the Al Travis Show with Megan's News in Review.